Hi, I'm Lisa Bagshaw, and welcome to Bold Leaps, the show that interviews creative, inspiring, successful people about the risks they've taken to pursue their dreams. And today's guest is one of Canada's most beloved chefs, TV personality, and author, Vikram Vij. Vikram was born in India to middle-class parents, a hard-working father, and a sweet, nurturing mother. Perhaps due to his blue eyes, which are as rare as a white tiger, or his natural charm. Either way, he says he was pampered like the village cow. As a young boy, he loved to cook, eat, and perform, all to great praise. He says that becoming a Bollywood actor was his dream, but being a chef was his fate. At 19, his fate seemed sealed when he got the opportunity to go to Austria to study to be a chef. It was there that he was presented with another opportunity to work at the Banff Springs Hotel. From there, he moved to Vancouver to work in prestigious restaurants, sharpening his skills until a fateful series of events lined up for the destiny of owning his own restaurant. His parents arrived from India with a paper bag full of money to cover the lease. His mother rode the bus every day with a pot full of homemade curry, and he was introduced to passionate powerhouse Meeru Dhalwala, who would become his wife and business partner. Vijs The Restaurant was born, and soon skyrocketed into notoriety worldwide, and parlayed into cookbooks, more restaurants, product lines, food trucks, and TV appearances, including a season on Dragon's Den. The success of the food empire with the duo at its helm was meteoric, until the fate seemed to change. Welcome to the show, Vikram.
Namaste. So honored to share this journey with you all.
I am so honored that you are here. Your life is something out of a movie. The worldwide travel, the risks, the rewards, the ambition, the whole thing is so inspirational. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. You know, it's been a great journey and I cannot complain about it because here was this young boy at the age of 19 in India, got an opportunity to come to this great democracy called Canada and pursue, the dreams of what I wanted to do. And it's been a humbling journey as well. Don't get me wrong. There has not been lots of falls before the rises took place. So I guess life is all about that, and you have to embrace it and keep smiling and always be the peacock and dance wherever you want and however you want.
Oh, I love that so much. Well, I want to start in your childhood. And your father seems to take a real key role in your life. How do you think that relationship impacted your life as an entrepreneur and a chef?
Well, my father was a very hardworking, honest man. Mm-hmm. And even today, I take inspiration from him that he doesn't owe anybody any money. He doesn't believe in taking anything from away and not giving either to the society or to anybody else. So he's been a great inspiration for me. I mean, we obviously disagree on some things, but mostly it's about learning from him, his experiences, what he did, how he managed his people, his shop, his businesses that he had. My mom, on the other hand, is an extremely gentle, soft-hearted woman who just worships anything I say or do. Like, my dad is somebody who will tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong, and if I'm doing something wrong, he won't even sugarcoat it. Whereas my mom, on the other hand, would be the more forgiving one, the more loving one, the more... she'd be like, oh, it's okay if you made a mistake, Whereas my dad would be like, I can't believe you made a mistake. So that's the biggest difference between both of them.
But I think it was clearly a winning combination for you to grow up in that environment. And One of the biggest leaps that you took from such a young age at 19, when you are this young man who, as you say, has been pampered like the village cow, to go to Austria by yourself.
Not only before that, I mean, imagine at the age of 16, 17, you're trying to figure out what you want to do. And in your mind, you grew up with the thinking that I'm going to be an actor one day. I loved stage. I wanted to perform. I wanted to do all this stuff. And then suddenly, you know, you've been told that, no, you're not going to follow this. You're not going to be allowed to do this. So now to rewind and say, okay, well, what do I do? Because this is all I've known. I've always been a stage actor. I've always been that person who's loved to perform and everything else. To reconfigure yourself. And yes, there were issues that I didn't speak German at all. So having to go and learn German at the time was very, very difficult in India, in Bombay. To leave your cocoon of total happiness and where you are in Bombay, living a beautiful life, to uproot yourself to go to a country where you don't speak the language, the food is completely bland, and you don't understand what's going on. And the only reason why you do those things is to be free. Because in India at that time, there was no hope for young people like us. There was nowhere to turn back. And so that freedom to do it and to be able to be who you are has been my fundamental motto. To say, be the free bird, do what you want to do, be what you want to be. And even if you have to give up everything in life, the freedom to choose, the freedom to be able to express yourself, freedom to be able to have an earring, a nose ring, and toe rings, and whatever you want to do is what I feel fundamentally the most important thing in life is. And to have that freedom to do was worth everything. Giving up your cocoon in Bombay, giving up your friends in Bombay, giving up your language in Bombay was worth it, because the freedom to be able to express yourself was very important.
It's a hard-won freedom in your case, I would say, because it wasn't easy to leave that cocoon in India at 19.
But never in life do you make decisions that are easy. You know, you make decisions. If you make easy decisions, chances are you're never going to get, you know, high up there. You're never going to rise up there. So it's very important to realize that you have to sometimes make really tough decisions. And those tough decisions was, am I willing to go? I was just in India very recently. And a lot of my friends are still there in India. And nothing against them. They love being there. But I could not fathom myself living the rest of my life in India, in that space. And I think I tell this to people all the time. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do what you feel is right. And in that process, if you win, great. If you lose, even better.
That, I want to hear more about that, but first we have to take a break. But when we come back, I'm going to ask Vikram about this meteoric rise that his culinary and performative talents took him on. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Bold Leaps. I'm here with the incredible Vikram Vij. Okay, let's talk about this meteoric rise of your food empire. Is it true that your parents came over with a paper bag full of $23,100 bills?
It is true.
For your restaurant?
Yeah, I was working at a restaurant called Bishop's, whom
Yes.
I have the highest respect for, John Bishop. And I think I was ready to open up my own place, and I called him up in India and said, Papa, I want to open up a restaurant. And he was like, okay. So he wrapped up his stuff and he came to Canada, and brought the money with him. And I still remember that day. We were looking at some sites and scouting some sites out. And then he really liked one. And then I went to Bishop's to work that night. And I came home and there was like a signed lease in my hand, and I was like, okay, this is what it is. I got to make the best of it because my father's hard-earned money and my hard-earned money.
Yeah, you put money in too.
$10,000
Yeah.
I had, put it together, and we built this whole place up. And it was extremely stressful. There was a time in January, I remember we were started in September. In January, my landlord was giving me a really hard time because of the smell of the curries and the spices and everything else. And he didn't want me to cook that food there. And I had nowhere to go. I couldn't sell the location and everything else. So I actually put up the restaurant up for sale almost because I was like, there's no way I can deal with this person constantly telling me that I should stop cooking my Indian food. I should stop cooking my Indian food. I mean, that was the Indian food that I knew. That is what my goal was. So being constantly told that, and the smells and everything else was just so bad. But having said that, we persevered, and at that time, Meeru and I decided to go and get a new location on 1480 West 11th Avenue. We both walked to that place, looked at it, thought it was great, and we made an offer on it, and we bought the place, and we started rolling along, and literally moved like September 1996. I was working constantly at Vij's and the new Vij's, and then slowly moved over on the other side, transitioned to the new Vij's on 1480, where all the attention and the accolades and everything came. And Meeru was pregnant with my daughter Nanaki, with our daughter Nanaki. And I still remember to this day, the first day we are opening the restaurant up and Meeru's pregnant and the chits are coming out, people are lined up, and I'm running out of food. We're running out of food. We don't have any chickpeas left. We don't have any chicken left. So at one point, I was like, rather than trying to fake this, I switched on all the lights. So the lights went really bright. Everybody just looked at me, what was happening. And I told everyone, I said, I didn't expect such an overwhelming response from you guys. I have run out of food.
Wow.
So Auntie's making the chicken curry in the back. Auntie's making the chickpeas in the back. We're just going to serve it. And please do me a favor. There's no bill at the end, but just leave some money at the table to cover my food cost and my labor cost. And everybody in Vancouver was so generous that everybody left more money than they would have ever paid for by their bill, because I was honest, I was straightforward, and I was like, this is the way it is.
That story actually gives me chills. Meeru is a huge part of your success, and when I look at what happened after that, and I look at the multiple restaurants and the manufacturing company and the food production and the food trucks and the TV personalities and TV appearances, it's, as anyone who has been that successful has also experienced, I don't even know if you would call it failures, but how do you sort of conceptualize failure?
Well, they're not failures.
Yeah.
They're just decisions that we made that either were going to propel us to a much higher level, or they took a little toll on us. I would never say they're failures. Mm-hmm. They're stepping stones to either you slip away or you rise up. Because at the end of the day, where we started from, we were still better off doing what in spite of all the mistakes and the failures and everything else. And I would never say they're failures. I would never say they're mistakes. They're the things that we did. We made those decisions, and we got to live with them. You sometimes have to know the decisions that you make. You have to be proud enough to say, I made a mistake there. That is what bravery is, to be able to accept that point. Don't point fingers at so and so and so and so and so. Point fingers at saying, okay, made a mistake. This was a mistake. This is what happened. And I think that is, to me, a fundamental trait of somebody who will be successful is somebody who can accept that I did not do good. And think about it like an actor. You know, you do 10 roles in your lifetime, 8 of them didn't go anywhere, but 2 of them propelled you to a different level where you became a famous person. I think that is how I see it as. Vij's was our baby that we created. Rangoli was our baby that we created. And so we did really well with it. So those I take pride in those elements of it. And, you know, it is very important to recognize that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's impossible for somebody like you to have, and Meeru, to have reached this meteoric success and not make, I don't even know if you want to call them mistakes along the way.
They're not mistakes. They're things that happen. It's part of life. You know, we separated, we moved on. There were things that happened because of certain things that you know that both of us did. I never want to say she did it all or I did it all. It was just something that happened. Now we're just focusing on Vij's, and you know, my focus is that I just want to focus on Vij's and run it successfully and still have a great time doing it.
Mm-hmm. And when did you know, in all of this incredible ride, when did you know that you would be okay?
I've always known that. I've always trusted somebody up there. You know, I'm not a very religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. There's somewhere that tells me that if I keep toiling hard and keep working hard, eventually I would be okay. And I'm fine. I'm totally comfortable. I'm happy where we are. And I don't want anybody to ever think or pity me. The last thing I need is anybody to say, it's life.
I don't think anyone's going to be pitying you anytime soon.
But I just love the ride. And you know, next year, and you know, probably in 2025, the Vikram Vij cookbook is going to come out. You know, we've always written cookbooks as Vij's, but this is going to be just my cookbook that's going to come out based on my travels. And I think I'm really excited, you know, to be part of this, because now the freedom that I talked about at the age of 19, why I left, all these years have been that freedom to do what I want to do, freedom to express myself, freedom to be who I am, and not being bound by anything, by any society, by any cultural norms, by any financial issues. I just that freedom to do what we want to do is actually funny, because this whole circle has come back to that freedom to be the bird. Freedom.
I want to talk to you more about that. We have to take a break right now, but stay with us, because I'm going to ask Vikram more about how life is now and what advice he has for those of us too afraid to pursue our dreams when we come back. Welcome back to Bold Leaps. I am here with Vikram Vij. What is in your heart now?
My eventual goal is to you know, run Vij's and create a legacy that was always meant to be on Cambie Street. So Vij's is the legacy building, basically. And by the time I am 70, I think I would like to get a little space of my own on one of the islands and be the gardener. And, you know, very important for me is to be a great mentor to young chefs. So this is something that I'll be working on in the next few years, to be a mentor to young chefs, to be part of their culinary journey, to, you know, to help them grow and be who they are. Because at the end of the day, somebody did help me once upon a time to you know, to be who I am. So it's very important for me to give back to the young chefs and hopefully teach them and work with them and showcase what we have learned over the years. And then just, you know, always be part of it. I mean, I think as British Columbians, or we as Canadians, should be very proud of our backyard. You know, we have great farmers that produce great food. We have great winemakers that make great wine. We have great purveyors of great food and culture. And I think we should definitely be the best the unappointed ambassadors of Canada in the culinary scene, and making sure that we are taken seriously on the culinary scene, because we do have what it takes. We have the ocean, we have the Okanagan, we have beautiful culinary scene here, and the chefs are young and they're vibrant and they're from all over the world. So not only are they bringing their own heritage and their culture onto the plate, but they're also bringing their passion to survive and succeed. Exactly what we were at 30 years ago, So I think it's beautiful to be able to hold their hands and showcase and do all that. That's amazing.
What advice do you have for people who are too afraid to pursue their dreams?
I've always believed this, and I don't know whether I should say this, but advice is like a dime a dozen out there. It's like a bum hole. Everybody has it. You need to make sure that you follow what you feel like doing, and hopefully you become successful at it. I do not want to give anybody advice. I don't want to give. The only thing I want to do is I want to nurture. So if somebody asks, I'll say, this is what I would do in your situation. But why should I give anybody advice? Because their circumstances are different. Their life is different. And it's easier to say, oh, no, just go and pursue this and do whatever you want to do. It's very tough. It's extremely tough. So the only advice I can give you is follow your own instinct and your gut. And if your gut says don't do it, then don't do it. Then it doesn't matter how much anybody tells you that you're going to make a lot of money or not make money, or you're going to become famous or not. If your gut's not telling you, then don't do it. This has to be followed through.
Well, that actually is excellent advice. And thank you so much for doing this interview, but also thank you so much for the culture and the texture and the enjoyment that you have created, not only in Vancouver with Vij's and all your various products and restaurants, but in Canada and around the world, and you as an ambassador, and you have done so much for this city, and I absolutely loved reading your memoir.
Thank you.
And so thank you for sharing all of that as well. So
pleasure. Namaste, and it was awesome, and I love the fact that you've done so much homework, and it's lovely to be interviewed by somebody who's taken the time to read your journey and study your life, basically.
Oh, well, you are very fascinating. Well, that's it for another episode of Bold Leaps. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to YouTube for more inspiring episodes. Special thanks to Fresh Street Market. And remember, every step you take is a step toward your dreams.